Without them, the whole project is held up.
Well, surely you can get another copy sent up from London.
The whole thing's most inconvenient.
I know you're wrapped up in your scientific problems, Dr. Hutchins, but I shouldn't have to remind Commander Braithwaite of the seriousness of the situation. You say yourselves these papers are top secret, and they've been stolen.
I'm sure there's a simple explanation. I never let the briefcase out of my sight. Anyway, there's no evidence of anyone breaking in.
Aye, that's what worries me. Could be one of the staff here.
The staff? Impossible. They've all been screened. Their records are on file.
Good. We'll need those.
Well, I take it you won't need me anymore.
No, sir.
We can safely leave things to you then, Cameron.
Aye, for the time being, Commander Braithwaite. But we'll need to check those prints there with those of your staff.
No, that's no good.
Really?
It's just a question of knowing what to look for. You can rule out most of them on sight. A simple matter of the gross characteristics. Arches, loops, and whirs. The trouble starts when you get down to matching the fine details. You see, I have to establish 16 breaks in the individual ridges. And in order, too. After that, the mathematical Hey, you're in luck.
What?
We've got our 16 points.
XB 3946 stroke 5. XB 3946 stroke 5. But it can't be him. He's been dead for 20 years.
Come in.
Thank you.
Mr. Preston, my name's Braithwaite. Comfortable journey?
Yes, I flew to Inverness and the car met me at the railhead.
It's a devil of a place to get to. Which makes this fingerprint business all the more surprising. I mean, that'll be all, Miss Montgomery. You can carry on with your typing.
Didn't they brief you? I'm a ministry auditor, in case you've forgotten. Now, the whole typing pool will know that something's going on.
Naturally, I make an exception of my own secretary.
There are no exceptions, Commander. Now, the fingerprints on your briefcase, would it surprise you to learn that they belong to one Jock Lawson?
Lawson?
Yes. In 1945, he was working as an electrician in the Glasgow shipyards. They were on the point of arresting him for passing on information about advanced naval radar systems when he skipped. Hasn't been heard of for 20 years, written off as dead.
Well, I suppose there's a description.
That's it.
But on my briefcase, last sort of fellow I'd have anything to do with.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't know you had a visitor. Just wondered if you'd care for a game this evening.
I'm afraid not, Jim. Dr. Todd, this is Mr. Preston.
How do you do, Mr. Preston?
How do you do?
Preston's up from London, central auditing.
Oh, you are? I'm not planning any more cuts, I hope.
No, I'm here merely to observe and report.
And you can report that if they cut back any further on our appropriation, I won't be the only one to walk out. We don't live in this depopulated peat bog for our health, you know.
You tell them, Dr. Todd.
I have.
First-rate chap, Todd. Absolutely brilliant. Of course, we don't talk the same lingo, but I can still give him a run for his money on the golf course.
All first-rate chaps, but it doesn't alter facts.
I was under the impression that this fingerprinting had cleared our scientific staff.
But not their possible contacts.
But I know most of them personally.
Yes. And any man with an 8 handicap or under couldn't possibly be a communist agent, could he?
I don't pretend to be a spy catcher. We have security regulations, and I do my best to see they're enforced. Come to that, a round of golf isn't a bad test of character.
Yeah. All good men. All drive clean off the tee and straight down the fairway. I'm sorry, Commander, but this isn't a game where the rules apply. Now, is there anyone who could have had access to this office? Painters, plumbers, anyone?
There are no outside people. There are maintenance staff, of course.
Have they been fingerprinted?
All in good time.
Now is a good time, Commander. We must eliminate all possible suspects, including those who play golf. Now get them in here, have them fingerprinted, and in the meantime, I'll take a look round.
That's all, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'll come back later.
Now, that's all right. We're just finishing up a routine security check. Now, this is Mr. Preston, who has just arrived from Central Auditing in London. This is your first visit here, Preston, isn't it?
Yes. I'll not keep you a minute now, sir.
Oh, that's all right. I'm just checking on this new office equipment.
Well, when you've finished, we'll be pushing along. You're staying at my house, if that's all right by you. Afraid we don't run to a hotel.
Yes, fine.
I use a twin-lens reflex myself. And a 35mm Jap job for my colour.
Oh, really?
A Braithwaite here.
Is photography your hobby too, Mr. Preston?
Oh, I dabble.
I see. Thanks.
Who was it, dear?
Oh, just the police. No luck with the fingerprints. None of them matched.
Well, perhaps I'd better leave you two to talk.
I assure you, Preston, my wife is thoroughly reliable.
Wives always are.
Well, that clears the plant. It eliminates everyone.
Everyone except Jock Lawson.
There's no Lawson round here.
This time of night?
Your Mr. Lawson is probably a McGregor by now.
It's beyond me how his fingerprints ever got onto my case.
But the point is that they did, so he must be about here somewhere.
But where? There's just this community, then nothing for miles. Certainly nowhere a stranger could hide himself.
But I've been to London and I can't get across to the island till morning.
Ah.
Hello, Sheila.
Sheila, this is Mr. Preston, who's staying with us. Miss Sheila Sutherland.
How do you do, Mr. Preston?
Hello?
Oh, dear, I suppose you've taken my bed.
Oh, it's all right, Sheila. We can still put you up all right. Sheila's from Herta, Mr. Preston. It's not always easy to get across there. Do you want some coffee?
I'd love
Ah, yes, there it is. Herta. Many people live there?
only 50 or 60 of us now.
Only fishermen and crofters.
Oh, you don't exactly look like a crofter, if I may say so.
No? I live there with my father.
Her father's a famous author,
Oh, yes?
Magnus Sutherland.
Really?
Now, you've never heard of him, have you?
No, I haven't.
You haven't read the Highlander's Testament?
I'm afraid not.
Never mind, Mr. Preston. It's quite unreadable.
Do you come across here often?
We've a boat 3 times a week.
Any of your people come from there?
A few, but they're living here now.
Are you here to work, Mr. Preston?
Yes, just a quick trip.
What do you do?
I'm an auditor.
You don't exactly look like an auditor, if I may say so.
How long does it take to get across?
About an hour.
You know, I think I'll go over there. I could take some photographs.
Oh, not another photographer.
Her father's a great enthusiast. Takes all the illustrations for his books. He has his own darkroom over there.
Really?
But I don't think you'd find anything over there that would interest you.
Oh, it's a lovely place. There's the Caldy Church and the Abbey. That's where Sheila lives, Mr. Preston.
Oh, that sounds interesting enough. I think I'll make the trip.
You'll be wasting your time.
If you do go over, you'll have to stay overnight.
Oh, I'll find him somewhere. You'd not be able to stay at the Abbey. My father's, well, a wee bit eccentric. He doesn't care very much about strangers.
A couple of days off would do me good.
I hope you're used to getting up early. The boat leaves at 7 on the dot. Something for you. It's the pipe you wanted.
Oh, I'm gratefully obliged to you, Sheila. And how much would that be, I'm owing you?
Oh, nothing at all.
Oh, no, I wouldn't be saying that. No, no.
Take it as a Christmas present. I'll not get the chance to get you anything else. Oh, Mr. Preston.
Yes?
Donald, Mr. Preston's here to take our picture.
Oh, do you say that now? He'll be from the newspapers, I'm thinking.
Oh, no, I'm just here to enjoy myself.
Will Mr. Preston be staying up at the Abbey, then?
Can you see Magnus Sutherland laying himself out?
No, but then I'm wondering where else. The ferry boat does not go back until tomorrow.
That's true. You see, there's nothing but the crofts here.
Oh, it's a good thing I brought my sleeping bag then, isn't it?
Oh, we'll not have you sleeping in the heather. Could you not put him up yourselves?
Aye, well, I suppose I could be
No,
asking.
I don't want you to put yourself out, so... It's a Russian boat, isn't it?
Aye, the fishermen just like ourselves. The Russian fishing fleet's anchored out there.
They're here every summer.
And they're free to come and go, no formalities?
Aye, well, when the weather's rough, you cannot deny them shelter.
Not too bad today, is it? I mean, there's...
Well, if you'll just be coming along with me now, Mr. Preston.
Yes, of course. Seeing you.
Mother, this is Mr. Preston. He's just this minute stepped off the ferry and looking for somewhere to stay.
Well, now, there's no easy thing for a stranger to find on Herta.
Well, actually, Mrs...
Mistress McKinnon?
McKinnon, it was suggested that I might be able to find a room here.
Well, we've nothing very grand. Would it be for long?
Well, just a day or two until the boat goes back.
I'm thinking I should speak to Mr. McKinnon, but he's away round the crofts about a shipment of tweed.
Well, it was Miss Sutherland herself that asked. They'd have put him up at the Abbey, but...
Oh, hi, Magnus Sutherland. You'd think he owned the place. But I'm sure Mr. McKinnon would never begrudge a stranger hospitality. So you've not to be worried, Mr. Preston. We'll make a place for you to lay your head where you'll find it in the morning. And since it was herself asked the favor, Donald won't mind giving up his room.
Очі забавна історія, Іван. Ну-ка, розкажи ще одну. Макай, нас ждет.
Afternoon. Can I get a drink?
You'd better be asking Mr. MacLeod that question, what with him being the landlord.
Oh, I see. First, I have to guess which one it is. I hope I'm not gate crashing, but Donald McKinnon did tell me that this place was open to the public.
Oh, so you're knowing the McKinnons, are you, eh? Why didn't you say?
I'm staying with them.
Oh, you're the fortunate one. There's not a finer man on the island than Angus McKinnon.
Looking forward to meeting him. He was out when I arrived, but Mrs. McKinnon may be most welcome.
Yeah, well, now, what will you be having? I could offer you beer or whiskey.
What's this?
Oh, that's something a wee bit out of the ordinary. It's vodka.
Oh, genuine Russian. That your source of supply?
Aye, well, they have been known to part with the odd bottle or two, you know. There's some that like it. But, of course, it's tobacco and tweed for their women folk that they're after. Well, it doesn't amount to anything. After all, what could we do with rubles, eh?
Do you think I might risk a drop?
Oh, why, it's a real thing, all right. Oh, there's no doubt about that.
How about yourself, Mr. McLeod?
Oh, now, that's very civil of you, but if you don't mind, I prefer the breath of the Highlands to the blast of the steppes. Well, slant you.
Slant you. I see what you mean. It packs quite a kick. Do you think that they might let me have a bottle?
I just wouldn't care to say. You could always ask them yourself.
All right. Afternoon. Any of you speak English?
A little. Away with you, Nikita, you speak it better than Mackay here.
Aye, but he's maybe a wee thing choosy about who he speaks it to.
I've just been sampling your vodka. Mr. McLeod here suggested that perhaps you'd trade me a bottle.
On кажет, милый, предоставьте это мне. What, we sell vodka?
Yes.
Niet, on musit poets inspectiorum.
Quite a linguist, aren't you?
Oh, there's no trick in picking up the odd word if you keep your ears open.
No, then, Ewan. He's all right. He's staying with Angus McKinnon. No. One's enough. Then you spoil the market.
Он неплохой. 1 фунт доволен для тебя.
Сколько рублей, Francesca?
2 или 3.
Oui, bien.
This is quite a windfall, isn't it? Thank you. Where did you learn to speak English?
I was on convoys in the war.
Drink?
English camera?
No, German.
Oh, watch out now. He'll have it off you in 2 shakes.
We make better in Russia.
Yeah? This is quite an occasion, isn't it? Last thing I expected to find on Herta. Do you mind if I take a souvenir photograph?
Now, I'm thinking that maybe you'll just put your wee camera back in its box and not be annoying our visitors.
Well, you see, their visit's not exactly official.
Oh, I see.
Well, they certainly bring a whiff of the outside world to the island. Mind you, they're only supposed to land when the weather's bad. But you'd be surprised how often that is.
Well, they're quite a feature of the local scene.
Aye, it came as a surprise to some of yon dyed-in-the-wool islanders to find the Russians were actually human.
I gather you're not from Herta yourself, Mr. McKinnon.
No, but the wife is.
For a stranger, you seem to be held in great respect by the locals.
Oh, I wouldn't have cared to say that. But they're kindly folk once they get to know you. But that can take a bit of time.
Away with you, Angus McKinnon. You know, find the folk hereabout. Bless the boat that brought you.
Well, perhaps I have been able to help on 1 or 2 things. Mind you, Mr. Preston, I'm not a stranger now. I settled here, I didn't care to think how long ago. Well, long before the bright boys dreamed up yon plant across the water.
I see we're not very popular.
Oh, just local conservatism. 1 or 2 of our folks from Herta have taken jobs over there.
Aye, and they're keen enough when it comes to Friday afternoon and the pay packet, Mr. Preston.
Well, I see good luck to anything that brings work to the Western Highlands. You can, things have not been easy here. And there's plenty of other islands that have given up the struggle. This drift to the south. Well, if they're fools enough to settle for a production line job, a lifetime in some damn factory.
For the Lord's sake, Mr. Preston, don't get Angus started in that or you'll be up all night.
It's time we were turning in. Well, now, you're welcome to take a look at one of the looms tomorrow morning, such as it is. You'll maybe get a shot or 2 for your album.
Thanks very much. Good night.
Good night, now.
Good night.
sir. This ancient pile has withstood assault by the Vikings, bombardment by the English, and neglect from the Ministry of Works. If your intention is to demolish it, then I doubt you'll have to improve on your bare hands.
Well, I was just knocking to...
To see if you could be shown around the Abbey. Highly laudable and very educational, but only on Wednesdays between 2 and 4.
Well, actually, I met your daughter on the mainland. She told me you had a dark room. My name's Preston.
Hello, Mr. Preston.
Hello.
Oh, Father. A handsome man comes to see me and you do your best to chase him away.
Oh, you're that Preston, the photographer lad. Well, seeing that you promised, but keep an eye on his ongoings. I don't want hypo in my developing dishes.
I did warn you. He's just had the page proofs for his new book.
I'm glad I'm not his printer. Well, how about showing me around?
Very well.
Stargazing, huh?
My father's a mainstay of the British Astronomical Society. He spends half his nights up here.
It's one way of passing the time, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose so. I often wish there were others, though.
Well, young McKinnon should be able to help you out in that direction.
Donald? Oh, we get on well enough, but he doesn't have much imagination and, well, he takes a lot for granted. There aren't many young men on the island, and most of them have to go to the mainland to find work.
It doesn't make for competition or variety, does it? What's that down there?
It's the old pigeon house. It's not used anymore.
That looks interesting.
You don't want to see that?
No. Well.
I expect my father's ready for his morning nip. And mind you, nothing about the plant.
Oh, no.
Unless you want to get escorted from the premises.
Ah, it's a beautiful whiskey. Pure malt, you know. You can taste the peat burn flowing through it. Not like that blended muck they sell in the cities. Liquid poetry, Preston, liquid poetry. Here, give your taste buds a wee treat. Anyway, as I was saying, it's the wrong sort of development. We fought it tooth and nail, but with a supine, so-called Scottish office, absentee landlords and absentee government, there's not overmuch to choose between them.
Well, the plant does bring money into the area.
Aye, dirty money. Like the effluent they discharge into Loch Broom. Anyway, money isn't the only criterion. No. The future of the Western Highlands lies with Home Rule and the development of local industries. You've doubtless been following my correspondence in the Sunday papers.
Yes, it's very impressive.
I agree. Tell me, what did you think of the point I made regarding forestry?
I thought that it was...
It's getting on for lunch, Father. Mr. Preston has his photographs to develop.
Aye, maybe so. Then we'll discuss it later.
Yes, all right.
Here we are.
Oh, this is great.
Gets a bit hot, that's all. Take your jacket off if you like.
No, thanks.
What can I do?
It's all right, I can manage. Where's the developing tank?
Oh, here. I'm quite expert, you know.
Thank you.
And Father told me to keep an eye on you.
Safe light doesn't work.
Oh, stupid of me, I forgot. I forgot about the generator. We make our own electricity.
Sorry, too late now. Got the film out. Fingerprints show Jock Lawson somewhere on island.
Hi, good morning, Mr. McLeod.
Good morning, Donald.
Will you have seen Fergus, I wonder? Our friend here has a letter that needs delivering.
Oh, man, you've just missed him. He's not been gone but 2 minutes.
I must catch him before he takes the ferry out. This letter is urgent.
Oh, man, now there's no need for alarm. No, he's only going to the other side of the island, and besides, I'm sending back some barrels to the mainland, and he's got to call back here to collect them, you see.
How long will he be?
Oh, well, now, that's a question, is it not? He's got a very poor notion of time, as Fergus. Could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour.
There's no need for you to wait. If you're off somewhere, I'll see that Fergus gets your letter. If you like, that is.
It could be the man's wondering if you'll steal a stamp off his envelope.
Well, I accept your offer, thank you. Make sure he gets it.
I will that.
See you later.
Oh, no, there goes a man in a fair hurry, eh?
Have you ever seen mainland folk who weren't? Anyway, it's no affair of ours.
Aye, maybe so, maybe no. But your Mr. Preston's a great man for the questions. He's a man with a fine curiosity about him. Him and that wee camera he's always using. You'll lock up then.
Aye?
Right, we'll see you on Thursday. What the devil do you think you're doing here?
What do you mean?
The key.
I got permission.
Oh, no, you have not. Give it to me.
Oh, but I'm a friend of Mr. Sutherland's.
Oh, it's you.
I was just studying poetry. Liquid, of course.
A snooper from the excise, eh? Man, if this thing were loaded, I'd use it.
Morning. Morning, Mr. McLeod. I'll have a whiskey, please.
Oh, will you now? I was thinking you had enough of the stuff last night.
I didn't touch a drop.
Well, you listen to the man lying. You were caught red-handed. I told you what he was the minute I clapped eyes on him. He's a gauger, all right.
Man, you and my very thoughts exactly. Here's the sleekit look of a customs official.
Sniffing round the island for duty-free brew. Midnight raids on Mr. Sutherland's whiskey. What kind of occupation's that for an honest man?
I was trying to find out how you made the stuff.
Now, see here, Mr. Preston, or whatever your given name might be. I'm not doubting that you're thinking up some fine and fancy explanations, but we don't want to hear them. Get on with what you came for, if you must. Never another drop will you drink under this roof.
Somebody's been in my room.
Well, it's Donald's room, Mr. Preston. No doubt he was in there.
Yes, but some of my things have been smashed.
Oh, that boy was always clumsy.
This was deliberate, Mr. McKinnon. My bag was forced open.
You sure?
Positive. Where is he?
Oh, don't worry. I'll see that the lad makes good the damage. But be fair to him now. He might have felt there was a certain provocation.
How do you mean?
We're a small community, Mr. Preston. What affects one of us affects the others. We accepted you here in good faith. Now, I'm not one to judge a man by a local tattle, but there are some guy's strange stories about last night's goings-on.
Well, thanks, at least, for giving me the benefit of the doubt.
Whatever the rights and wrongs of it, and whatever it is you're after, I'm afraid you'll not get any further on Herta. Donald's a wee bit headstrong, but that's no excuse. I can only offer you my personal apologies. If you want him, he'll be down on the quay.
McKinnon? McKinnon, want to talk to you. You were in my room this morning.
We've got to have a little chat.
Well, what if I did attend to your fingerprinting equipment? Is that any worse than sneaking into Mr. Sutherland's still?
An illegal still. There are laws that govern that sort of thing.
Aye, and there are laws about hospitality. Not written down, but laws just the same. Though it's in my mind you've never heard of them. You took food and shelter underneath our roof and...
What have the Russians got to do with all this?
The Russians? What have they got to do with it? Ah, I see. A bargain, is it? Man, but you're well suited to your trade.
Do they buy Mr. Sutherland's whiskey? I hear there's a healthy demand for it in Russia.
And what if there is? Is it such a shame that just for once the London government doesn't get its share? But you're just the man to put that right, aren't you? Though I've got a notion in my mind that you'll not get that chance. People will be thinking you shouldn't be allowed to leave the island. Not alive, anyway. I mean that. I'll ferry you across to the mainland and leave you where you belong. And that's a kinder favor than you deserve.
But leave without my baggage?
Or without your life. Don't say you haven't been warned.
You've got a special reason for protecting Sutherland, haven't you?
I'm here to work, not to blather.
It's your work. I want to talk about your work with the Russians. Come on now, don't pretend you don't know anything about it. I think you're up to your neck in it. So cut out the simple, honest fisherman act. All right. So you're a simple, honest fisherman. Now, who would be flashing mirror signals to a simple, honest fisherman? Moonshiners? Possibly. Russian agents? Could be. Ah, I've got it. I know who it was. But I'll tell you something. They're nothing to the signals she flashed at me.
You leave Sheila out of this. An accident, I tell you.
Ah, but could you not have gone after him? He was one of God's creatures, after all. Oh, laddie, laddie, what have you done?
The boat dragged me. By the time I was back in her, I couldn't have found him. You all know what the tide rips like in that place.
But you say you quarreled.
I admit I lost my temper, but can you blame me? I did not do it deliberately, if that's what you're thinking. It was little enough use any of you had for him anyway.
Aye, but we didn't drown him.
Well, they'll send the fiscal from Inverness, no doubt. But, well, who's to tell?
Oh, no, Ewan, no. He was one of their folk, a customs man, and on an investigation at that. Aye, it'll look gay suspicious.
Aye, that's the truth of it. And if they find Mr. Sutherland
Oh,
still...
nobody'll talk. But Sutherland will have to dismantle it. Indeed, that's what he'd have to do in any case.
But supposing he wasn't to do with the excise?
Where's your telephone?
Now, look.
But they'll have heard your side of the story. Attempted murder is still a matter for the police.
Look, it was not deliberate.
Donald. Mr. Preston, I think we owe you an explanation. Donald has a temper. And he's behaved like a young idiot. But one thing he's not, and that's a liar. Oh, I'm not trying to excuse him. You have grounds enough to take action. Oh, what's the use? I'm the man you want. I realized it as soon as Donald took it on himself to go through your things. I should have told you this morning. Would have saved a whole pack of trouble. My name's Lawson. Jock Lawson. I'll spare you the details. I'm sure you're familiar with them.
Yes, I had wondered where you'd got to.
I left Glasgow and changed my name. I'd married a girl from Herta, so I settled here 20 years ago. You can, I was young then and full of socialistic ideals. The war was on and I worked for the Russians right enough. But not now. My one idea was to get out and away from it all. I thought I'd succeeded.
What about the Russian fishing flotilla, the sailors?
I just nod to them in the tavern, that's all. What the Russians are after now is their own business. And after all, they fished you out of the sea, didn't they? Do you not believe me? Look, I told you I settled down here to years before your atomic plant started up.
Who said it was anything to do with the atomic plant?
Well, what else can it be?
How long is it since you were over there?
Oh, it must have been months.
Not recently?
I just told you, months passed.
I know that you were there during the past 2 weeks.
Well, ask the lad on the ferry, then.
There are other ways to get across apart from the ferry.
Oh, aye. Someone's been putting in the poison, eh? And you believed him.
There's only one thing for it. You'd have to come back with me to the mainland and prepare yourself for a long stay. So you'd best settle up your affairs as soon as you can.
Hey, I don't like to leave without a wee word to my old friend MacLeod. I'll not be a minute.
All right.
Mr. Preston, we want to know what it's all about.
Mr. McKinnon has business on the mainland, private business.
It's being said...
Never mind what's been said. It's none of your affair anyway.
What happens to McKinnon is everyone's affair here. You realize what will happen to this island without him. You've seen the way the other isles have gone.
I hope you're not going to cause trouble, Mr. Sutherland.
Without him, the island is finished. There's no one to take his place.
Come on.
I've got a job to do. When you'll run, when your masters whistle, we'll fight this. We still have some say in our island's affairs. Angus, this man has nothing against you. And no legal authority, as far as I can see.
Indeed he has not.
No, that's not the way. He's just doing his job. I'll be back, never fear. And quicker than you think. Now let's get on with it.
You two acquainted?
Oh, he's a great character.
He's also Jock Lawson.
But he can't be.
Preston's told you about me, then?
Yes. It's a great shock to me.
Well, I wish I knew what this was all about. Your friend hasn't been very forthcoming.
You'll be told, Angus.
When were you last on the island?
About 10 days ago. Why?
Do you happen to take your briefcase with you?
No, I wouldn't take a briefcase.
You sure?
Oh, no. Tell them to hold off.
Huh?
Just tell them to hold off for about 10 minutes.
Just a minute.
I'm sorry, Angus.
These are the papers supposed to have been stolen? And they've been in your desk all the time?
Yes. I remember I did take that briefcase on my last trip to Herta. I took those papers out to make room for my weekend stuff.
You mean that's what it's all about? You brought me across for this?
Your fingerprints were on his case.
Well, of course they were. I carried your case from the boat for you. Remember?
Yes.
Come on, let's go.
It's not as easy as that.
No. I had just the slightest suspicion it wouldn't be.
The police nearly arrested you 20 years ago for passing on information. They won't let you go now. I don't really expect you to believe this, but I'm sorry.
Oh, that's two of us sorry. I'll believe you. See, it's not just myself I'm worried about. It's the island.
Well, let's have a drink, anyway.
I'd rather not, Mr. Braithwaite. I think you've done enough for me.